Hey guys, so this week's episode of Good Luck Sis is all about us diving into the last year of our 20s. That is right, 30 is knocking right around the corner. So this week's episode, we dive in and we reanalyze our 20s, give some advice, go over some of the best times, the worst times. So definitely tune in for this week's new episode.
I feel you're watching me pull up across the room. I think you like the view. You're gonna make a move. I don't make this easy for you.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Good Luck Sis. I am your host, Thati J.
And I'm your host, Elly.
And as you can see, we are still in person. We're still doing it. It's not like a one and done. You're going to have some in-person episodes for the next couple of weeks. So enjoy it while it lasts, okay? So this week's episode is all about us both being 29, both being in our last years of our 20s and 30s right there. And we're just going to go down memory lane a little bit, reminisce, see how our 20s were, see what we're leaving behind, and see what we're bringing into our 30s, if there's anything at all. So we're just going to go ahead and dive in. So my question to you, Elly, what is the biggest lesson you've learned in your 20s?
The biggest lesson I've learned in my 20s is to be patient with myself. I've learned over the years that every age I'm learning and I'm growing. And also I have to be patient. I'm often hard on myself. And I'm just like, girl, why aren't you getting this? Like, next thing. So I'm learning to just always be patient with myself. Eventually, I'm going to get where I need to be. It's just sometimes the road is a little bit longer than what I expect. Yeah. But it's just like, hey, if God's on your side, you're going to get there eventually. So just like, not be so hard on myself and just be patient. We're going to get there. Look at us. What if not?
What if that started in Elly's hallway? And now we're in Elly's. So started off in your parents' home, and now we're in your home.
Oh, you're in my home. Like I couldn't have imagined. Like only to God, toast to God.
Look at that in 4 years.
I never imagined that. So it's just like patient. I'm just like, oh, I want this, I want that, but like only God has the bigger plan for you. Like I can say I want this and that, but He already knew this was gonna happen. Oh
my gosh,
knocking down lights in the hallway, my parents coming back from like groceries, and you can hear them shut the door and talking, and we're like, shh, be quiet. And like now we have a whole house of silence.
This all started because we went to a fundraiser. You remember that fundraiser we went to, and then actually City was supposed to come and they never did, and we just still decided to go.
Hey, God, God places us in different rooms, so we can come up with these conversations and make these decisions.
Exactly.
What about for you?
For me, I think the biggest lesson I've learned is to just stop waiting and do it yourself. I think my 20s, especially my later 20s, I learned about myself a lot. And I think I've always been even though as an only child, I've been independent, but codependent at the same time. Like I don't really know what I've done on my own, honestly. Well, back then, like I feel like I've never really accomplished anything on my own. I feel like because I didn't really know myself, like granted, you get your degrees and stuff like that, but it's like that was for me, but that was for something I had to do. So I did it. I feel like now I've been able to do things on my own, and on my own, obviously this podcast is not on my own, it's with you, but it's like in the sense of like, this was for me. Like this wasn't to give back to my mom or for the optics of being a Haitian girl. And what does that mean to be first generation? No, this was for you. It was for me. Poetry is for me. So I think I've just learned to like, just do it. Just do it. Whether you're scared, whether you think it's not for you, or you think like, who listens to poetry? Who does podcasts? Who does this? Who does that? Just do it. And it's going to be the best thing for you, regardless of what other people think, regardless if you think you're not. Like, who are you to start this? It's like, who are you not to start it?
Have you put down the mask from imposter syndrome?
I think I have. I think it's kind of like, I finally learned that, baby, I got a voice and I got the personality and I got the charisma. And it's like, I'm worthy of being in these spaces that other people are in. I'm worthy. Granted, I may just be starting out, but I'm still doing it. I'm still here. So it's kind of like I've developed that confidence. Like, oh, yes, this, you are Thati J.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that's it. And that's what it is. And you are meant to be here. You are doing it. You are talented in it. It's a passion. There's a purpose behind it. So yeah, that's what.
You got to remind yourself
you
sometimes.
do.
You that girl.
Period. Because sometimes you forget.
You forget.
Life be making you forget.
Mm-hmm.
And you just got a little reminder. Bing.
Mm-hmm.
You that girl. That's, you know, people should do that. Set reminders like, you that girl.
On your watch.
A little positive affirmation every now and then.
Girl.
Exactly. Look at
Period.
that girl. Period. And then so my next question is, what do you envision your 30s to be like?
Ooh.
Which is
my
right
30s
around the corner.
Is right around the corner, and I am so excited for it. I feel like I know God has so much in store in my 30s, and I get emotional talking about my 30s because I'm scared. I'm scared because I feel like it's going to be extraordinary.
Yeah.
I've always said I'm still working on figuring out what's next for me, and I feel like God's like, okay, you've been praying about it, you've been asking about it, boom, here it comes. And I feel like that's what 30 is going to be for me. So I always say I envision greatness for me, period. And that's always was part of my future. That was always part of my vision. Do I know what it is? No. And I'm always in that's part of my life now where I'm praying to God and asking God to put me in the rooms, open the doors for me, place me in that space that allows me to be, you know, extraordinary. And also when I get there, I'm like, wow, this was the vision. I didn't see it.
Yeah, but this is it.
This is what I know God had in store for me. And I feel like that's what my 30 is. You see, it's vague. The answer is vague, but I know that
it's a feeling.
I'm going to sit with you one day and Tati, this was the vision.
Yeah.
This was what I was going to say on the podcast, but I didn't know how to explain it. And it gives me chills when I think about my 30s. And I'm just like, I'm excited. Like, I feel like, okay, I'm closing 29 and I'm just like, I'm ready for what is next. Again, I'm incorporating patience. I'm not going to be like digging for what's next. I'm waiting patiently for what's next. And I know it's coming.
Period. I love that. It's like, I don't know what it is, but I'm ready for it.
I'm ready.
And I think it's a feeling. I feel like you said, you're just going to look at me like, this is it.
This is it.
I don't know what it is, but it's like, once you get it, you're like,
yes,
this was it. This was it. Oh, that's going to be beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm excited for you. For me, so when I turned 20, I think I've told the story multiple times. I remember we were studying for something in nursing. We were downstairs and I was like, oh my God, this is the decade where everything's going to happen. I was in a relationship at the time and I turned 20. I was like, this is when I'm going to get married. This is the decade I'm going to have kids. Yeah. And I'm 29 and I'm not married, not in a relationship with no kids. And it's just like, it's crazy how you think your life is going to go. And it takes a complete opposite turn. Granted, I think we were just talking about this morning. Like, thank God, like, I'm not with that person. I'm not in a relationship. Like, things didn't work out. Thank God. But it's like, you couldn't tell me back then that at 30, close to being 30, baguette ménage. Like, you couldn't, like, no way. So when I look at my 30s, it's kind of hard to say because I was humbled and I learned, you know, what you thought was going to happen didn't happen. But I'm God, please hear me. I hope this is the decade. Because after that is 40. And after that, biology is really, really not in my favor. But I'm hoping in my 30s, I find a partner who I love and loves me and who I feel safe with and who I can create a safe home and environment with. And that can lead to us getting married and having children. I would love to be a wife and mother in my 30s. But one thing I will say, I think seeing you get married this year, it really put into perspective how quickly things can change.
Yes.
And that kind of scared me.
Things change quickly. And
very
this is
quickly.
Why I say, I'm not going to say what I envision exactly for 30, because I did envision this in 30. I didn't envision to, you know, meet my husband, then get married, move, buy. I didn't envision that at all. And I love the surprises that God throws. It's the best blessings. And I think like, it's great to pray and like, you know, have these things that come. It's just like, but wow,
look what you did that I couldn't even imagine.
I'm praying for everything that you can do for me, God, and just like surprise me.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. And I think, yeah, just those two big monuments. And they always say, like, we said, once you got engaged, like, oh, God's in the neighborhood. Baby. We didn't know who was that close in the neighborhood. We didn't know. But it was a beautiful thing to do. But it did honestly scare me because I'm just like, Ali was single. We was outside together not too long ago. And as I just said, in my 30s, I want that. But I'm scared of that because with that comes so much change. And I just don't think, and Jesus, I'm saying this out loud, so I guess I'm claiming it. I don't think my single era is done yet.
And I've always said that my single era was done. For my vows, I was just like, and April 2021, ooh, baby, I cried.
Three times. Run those back three times.
In April 2021, I prayed for my husband. And then May 2021, boom, never made the prayer. And I always told my cousin, I'm not going to make the prayer because I'm not ready. Yeah. I'm not ready. I was not ready. I didn't want to give up my singleness. I wanted to enjoy it. And finally, when I was ready, boom, God was like, man.
See? And the thing is, it's kind of like, I want, Lord knows I want a relationship. I want the right relationship. I want a husband. I truly do. And it's like, maybe it's not, I don't know if it's my singleness era is not done yet or my discovery era is not done yet. Kind of how like you feel like 30 is going to be, there's so much more that I have to do. So much more. And I'm just kind of like, and I've never been in a grown relationship. Like my relationship ended when I was 22. We were together from 17. Like that was kid, love. Still real love, but kid love. Right. So I guess I don't know if I can continue to discover me wholeheartedly with having a partner. So maybe that's why I'm saying that. I would hope that if I do find my partner, you're always discovering yourself, but before, that feeling of I did it, I got it, it was worth it. I don't know if I can do that with someone else.
One thing I have to say is that I hear more people like, I want a husband, I want a boyfriend, I want these, I want that. Now I've received that, you got to be prepared. You got to be prepared. It's just knowing yourself when you're in a relationship, knowing yourself when you're married, and you being able to like love yourself also, and also love your partner. Are you a good communicator? Have you healed? You got to be ready in order to receive that blessing. And it's just like, hey God, if I'm ready, I want my partner. But if I'm not ready, let me work on myself a little bit more in order when it's ready, I see it, I receive it.
Because I have so much more to do. So much more to do for me. And it's just kind of like, and like I said, it could just be because I haven't met the right man. But it's just hard for me in this niggas ain't shit era. Sorry. It's just hard for me to envision finding a man that's going to truly let me find me, but also be there with me.
I think 100% there's men out here that is going to still.
If it's the right one, I just haven't experienced that, so it's hard to picture it.
Yes, if they're the right one. And that's how you'll know if he's not the right one. Because the man that you're going to be with, the husband, there's like this trend on TikTok. It's like, he's not your husband. Or I pray that you find the husband that, and it's like all the purest things ever. But like, he's not your husband if, just like simple thing. He doesn't support you. Yeah. And it's like, wow, there's things that you can list down like, wow, if I'm in a relationship or if I'm married, like these are the things and this is how my husband should treat me, should do. And it's just like, wow, if a guy's not doing that when you're dating, that's not your husband. If you gotta think about, wow, there's certain things, or like you can communicate. Maybe he doesn't have that awareness, but it's just like, if you gotta question it, then that's not your man.
Yeah. Yeah.
So. That's not your man. If you've told him or if you corrected him and he doesn't want to change,
that's not your man.
That's not your man. Yeah. If he doesn't make you feel pretty, if he doesn't make you feel worthy, and if you have to doubt yourself, if you're acting crazy,
that's not your man.
That's not your man. And there's like those certain things right there. And I think as girls, we should technically have that list. And just bring that up. I just thought of something since we're revisiting our 20s. When Thati and I were in college, Thati and I made a list of what we wanted in a man.
And we put it under our pillow.
Like we put it on the
asking where that is.
Why did we do that? We don't know.
Asking what that is.
We wrote a list.
I was in a relationship too.
You did?
Wow, maybe I was manifesting.
And you put it on. The man he was sleeping on it. He was laying down on it.
Wow.
And God was like, I rebuke it. I rebuke it.
Wow. Yeah. That's crazy.
And I made that list, but was not even mentally ready. Like,
Nope.
yeah.
Nope.
The other day I was around some girl. She was like, "Oh, how old are you?" And I was like, 29. She's like, "Oh my gosh, no way. Like, you look so young." And I was like, "Wait, how old are you?" And she's like, "I'm 20." And I was like, "Oh, baby.
So young."
Oh, baby. And I went and gave her a list. I was going down the list of like, this is not what to do. And my number one thing is like, stay single. If you find the right one that comes along,
fine,
be open to it, but stay single.
Yeah,
discover yourself, love on yourself.
Yeah,
and just like discover who you are.
And that's
because one thing for sure that breaks women, 100% is breakups. Breakups help fit, they build you up and they, but it take like, damn, like those girls that fall in love with their high school sweetheart. I saw some girl on TikTok. She was like, "Thank you to my husband for being my high school sweetheart and marrying me. I didn't have to go through that breakup." I'm like, there's a part of her that didn't have to heal for years.
Yeah.
For years. And you're just picking whatever guy comes in your, like in your lives in college, and you're allowing them to mess up your life. And now you have to take 7 years. Now you started at 20. Now you're 28 trying to heal from the guy from 20.
It shouldn't take that long. I'm hoping not, but it does for some people.
Does.
And I will just say, like, we talked about this earlier. I'm talking from a woman's perspective, so I'm going to say a man. A man will ruin your life.
Yes.
Will ruin your life.
And they say when you get married, that's one of the biggest decisions you have to make.
Baby, take your time.
And I'm just like, it's the same thing. People take it lightly.
Take your time.
Dating and just picking a boyfriend. Everybody down the street you see is not your boyfriend. They do not have to be your boyfriend. Nope. They do not have to be your girlfriend.
Nope. Take your time.
Protect your inner peace in your 20s. If you can do that, honey, and you focus,
you'll get so ahead in life.
Done. And it's like that one thing when Black girls get bored, they're like, "I'm going back to school."
Yeah.
Let me tell you, one thing that will keep you away from boys and will keep your mind away from boys.
It's stress from school, baby.
It's stress from school and staying busy.
There you go. That's all you gotta do.
Staying busy.
I don't even know how we got here. Anyways, yeah, I envision being a mother and a wife. And I envision this podcast going farther. I envision my poetry going farther. I just envision me as a whole, as an individual, as Thati J, just being more known in the sense of like, I don't want to be famous. I really don't. But I want to be known as someone who has a voice and uses it for the right things and represents those who maybe don't have as strong as a voice or maybe don't know how to utilize their voice. So that's what I want. But we were kind of already dived into this episode. Anyways, so we're going to break down our 20s into 3 stages.
Okay.
So I'm going to repeat these later on, but from 20 to 23, from 24 to 26, and from 27 to 29.
Okay.
So let's start with 20 to 23. How would you describe the stage of your 20s?
Oh, yeah.
The biggest memory from that stage, and what advice would you give to yourself or someone else during that stage?
20 to 23. It's okay to start over. When I started college, my biggest memory is college was great. I had a great time, met some great people, met Thati, made some great friends. Also started my, my studies, so my major. I was a nursing major and I learned quickly that I no longer wanted to be a nurse. And I switched into public health. And it was one of the hardest decisions because all my life I knew I wanted to go into like medicine. I wanted to go into pre-med, but my parents wanted me to do nursing. Already it was just like what my parents wanted me to do. So started into nursing and realized I wasn't for me. And then I had to make a decision my junior year that, I was going to do public health. Did my research on what major I wanted to do. And I finally switched and made the decision to start taking classes. And one thing I said if I would do differently is I wish I never went into nursing and I went straight into like public health. I ended up falling in love with it. I loved it, mastered in it. It was great. I loved it.
I would come back and tell Elly about my clinicals. She's like, Thati, I could never. I could
never. And
I'm waking up at 5 a.m. I'm sleeping in the room.
And my parents even look at me now and they're just like, one thing for Haitian parents, my parents didn't know public health.
Yeah.
So in their head is like, I'm not going to make money. And I was like, I'm going to show you, I'm going to make money. Okay. And that was, I'm a you challenge me, I'm gonna show you kind of thing. And my parents are okay, I'm making money. So they learned to support it. They learned to love it. And it was one of those things I have to learn, like, hey, you're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna figure out things don't work for you. You're gonna switch a major. You're gonna be okay at the end of the day. I thought that day I decided when my parents picked me up from school and I got into the car, and my mom's like, so how did everything go? And I remember just bawling my eyes, Mommy, I'm leaving nursing. And my dad was not having it. My mom was like, why? What happened? I just started crying. And I remember I cried for like forever. Like I cried for a long time. It was a hard decision for me. But baby, we were fine. We're good. We're happy, you know? So you're going to be okay. You're going to make different life changes, and you're going to, study something else. You're going to leave that guy, whatever. Whatever decision you make that allows you to start over, you're going to be okay.
Amen.
That's all I got to say.
I think for me, 20 to 23, I feel like I'm going to get emotional, which is crazy, is resilience. Nursing was hard as fuck. I failed a class my junior year by less than half a point. My mom had to repay, I think, $1,000, which is a lot back then. It's a lot right now, honestly. For me to retake the class in the summer. I had to do my clinical over again. I was an orientation leader and I had a job that summer. Got it done, baby, and I graduated. Graduated, became a nurse practitioner. Here we are. So, but it was tough. I remember there was this time I cried for 3 days straight. Took a picture of it, sent it to my mom, to the point where I had to tell my preceptor I had allergies. That's how bad my eyes were swollen. Like they were bad. And till this day, my mom talks about that picture because she talks about how she loves that picture because it's like, you went through so much, but look where you are. But then she told me when I sent her that picture, she cried. She was like, my daughter's miserable. Like she's going through it. But I made it. And then 22, we graduated. 22 years old, me and my sweetheart, my boyfriend, love of my life, broke up, got cheated on.
You guys were together for 5 years.
Yeah. How are we gonna make sure? Yeah, broke up on our 5.5 year anniversary. And that broke me down to pieces because we just graduated. I was gonna find my nursing job, blah, 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 blah. I passed my NCLEX. And we broke up January 1st, 2018. I started my first nursing job at a place I hated January 31st, 2018. And when I tell you, I was so depressed, I was so miserable. I hated the job. I was at a nursing home, a new grad nurse with 21 patients by myself. Every fucking day I'm crying because my heart is broken. I'm questioning life. I'm questioning why this. And when I tell you, that's the lowest I've ever been in my life. And it's not okay you broke up with your boyfriend, but it's like, y'all, heartbreak is
one thing. My ego's another.
It's very hard. And then when you're adding that on top of to another big transition in life where normally that person would have been there for you, that would have been your support person. And it's like, I wasn't alone because I had my friends, thank God. But at the same time, I was alone because what he would have provided to me, they couldn't provide for me. Your partner, you can love your friends and your partners so much, but your partner is your partner for a reason.
They're supposed to be your backbone.
They give you something that no one else can. And baby, it was like, I'm crying. Like I'm going to my mom's room crying and she's crying with me, but I made it through. So it was like, those years are really resilient in many different ways. And it taught me how strong I am. And it taught me like, baby, you can do this. Yeah. Like if you can go through this, heartbroken, new job, every single day, literally you're crying. I would come out of work and be like, thank you, God, I made it through another day. Like every single day, thank you, God, thank you, God. And it wasn't like we broke up and never talked again. Maybe we broke up and shits keep going on for months. And I'm like, I'm tired of this. Like, I don't want to hear anything else. I don't want to see you. I don't want to hear anything. I don't want to know that you're in a new relationship, all this stuff. But it's definitely was a time where I'm proud of myself. When I look back at my younger self, I don't regret anything. And I'm just like, bitch, you know how many girls would have went back? And at 22 years old, you knew you're worth enough to just be like, bye.
Right.
And it was hard. But I think at that point is the first time in my life where I actually chose myself. And that set me up for the rest of my life moving forward. Choosing myself that one time when it was easy to go back.
Amazing.
So that was 20 to 23. So next stage is 24 to 26 and same thing. How would you describe that stage, biggest memory and advice you would give in that stage?
Okay, 24 to 26. Just diving into, my big girl career. Oh man, it was tough, being the youngest. So starting off into research. So starting off as like, I started off as like a staff assistant, research assistant. And, I've shared, not on this podcast, but I've shared on my sister-in-law's podcast, Mind Your Wellness. Make sure to follow them. I shared to them how I started, it was a low ball paying job. I was only making, I was embarrassed sharing to people how much I was making out of college, but I was only making $15 an hour. And my parents were like, what? This is what I'm telling you. La, la, la. But man, when I tell you, this was my challenge. I was like, I am taking that job because I got it at a hospital I really wanted to work at. And I was like, I'm going to start. And in 6 months, I'm going to get a promotion. How do I know? I don't know. Do they have another position open?
Who knows?
So I worked hard. I showed up. I was learning things from scratch. I was never in research. So I had to learn everything from scratch. They're talking about subjects. They're talking about this. They're talking about clinical. I'm like, I nod. I agree. I pretend like I understand what's going on. And I learned.
Yeah.
And I made sure to show up. I was like a good team player. And best believe that 6-month promotion. 3 months later, another promotion. And like my pay rate kept going up. And I was like, thank you, God.
Yep. Amen.
And I was like, praise God. And those years I worked really hard and I focused really hard. And then I decided to go for my master's. And that was a challenge because it was, I could, work part-time and go to school full-time, but who's going to pay for the master's? And I was not going to increase my student loans.
Hell no.
So I was like, okay, challenge number 2. Let's go to school full time. Let's go to work full time. So I'm leaving work at 6 p.m. and I'm taking the shuttle to the Brigham area because I went to MCPHS. And I'm coming home, catching the train at 10 p.m. And my dad, God bless his soul, always at the station picking me up because, you can't park at like Boston or drive to Boston because of parking. And, coming home, gotta either finish a homework. So I'm going to bed at 12, waking up at 6 a.m. So it was just like that for like 3 days. And then I remember it was my last year and I remember crying to God and praying to God. I was like, God, I can't do it anymore. Like I'm tired. The new position I just received at my job was just overwhelming, lack of training as a project manager. And I was just like, I don't know. I didn't know how to say no because I wanted that promotion. I wanted that.
And you're still paying
success.
for school.
And I'm still paying for school and I'm in school. So I was like, God, I just want to work from home. I just want to work from home. And COVID happened.
Granted.
And I said, granted.
We should it's very hard for a lot of people. A lot of people lost their lives. Not saying it was a good thing. Obviously, if we had a choice, we would do without it. But there were some advantages for some people.
And the advantage was that I got to work from home.
And here you are working from home still.
And still working from home. And I got to, finish school from home and it was amazing. And I still was able to grow in my career, end up switching over to like research administration. And I just kept growing up in the ladder. And here I am now and where I feel the most comfortable in my, not comfortable, but like, I know what I'm doing. I'm not faking it.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, wow, I've come a long way and I've grown. Those years were just me growing and achieving and growing in my field, which I'm so happy for that. And also I opened to vulnerability and I opened to opening my heart to, ain't shit people, but here we are. But honestly, it prepared me for my relationships. There were like test trials and I'm happy for that because I'm very reserved and I closed myself off from like, I know you're going to hurt me kind of thing. But I allowed myself to be open to the opportunity of dating. And I'm happy I did that because I wasn't that girl that was like dating. To be honest, I wasn't. I was so focused. I was so busy that like I never gave anyone that chance. But here we are. Like I decided at 26, I'm like, I'm going to be open to it. So I ended up doing that. And that was really my, the 24s to
26.
Yeah, 26.
Yes. Okay.
Don't regret anything.
As you shouldn't. We're already here. You shouldn't.
Yeah.
My 24 to 26 started the podcast. Same like Ellie, was working a full-time job. Hey, might as well get my master's. One advice I would give, honestly, if you can do it, it won't hurt. If you can, and it's not going to be a huge burden on you financially, like both me and Ellie, we said we're going to do it out of pocket, and we did because no more student loan debt. And for me, I was just like, I am single, I am young, I live with my mom, and I have no kids. This can only benefit me. And at the end of the day, if you don't want to use your master's, you don't have to. But it's something nice to have a little cushion to know you have that extra
You can
for
negotiate.
when the opportunity. Yeah. So it's like, if you can, go ahead. But yeah, same thing, working full time, now the podcast, school full time, baby. COVID hit, and at that time I was a nurse. So can you imagine working as a nurse in a global medical pandemic while also in school to further your education in medicine? That was tough. Everywhere I turned about was COVID, medicine, nursing. I was tired. I was overwhelmed. Don't know how we got here, but we got here. Glory be to God. I think 24, 26, I really started my personality came out. I think that's when I really started to become more comfortable with myself and like, oh my gosh, like this is who I am, not in a relationship. Like, and I always said, like, I went to all girls high school. Prior to that, I went to co-ed elementary school, but I was young. What boys? I was only interacting with the boys in my class for 8 hours a day, and that's it. So I feel like
was Thati.
Yeah.
College Thati was
like I had my boyfriend. So I was just, quiet, but this era of my life was like, okay, Thati having fun. Granted, it's not even with guys or like I wish I dated more. I still wish, God willing, I hope I date more. But it wasn't that. It was just like, oh, like I don't have to worry about anyone saying you're doing too much or anything. And half the time I probably was doing too much, but I didn't care. I was drinking. I was having fun. I was just living my life that I never got to live. Yeah. Like this, I feel like that stage was what my college years should have been. But I was in a relationship and I was in a heavy major where I really couldn't experience college the way other people in other majors could. But then I was done. And yeah, I was still in school, but I wasn't going to sacrifice my life for a master's program that I chose to go to. It was voluntary at that point. I made that decision. And it was a good time. I just started to become more comfortable in myself in terms of, baby, you have a voice, you're funny, you're loud, and just embrace it. Because I was always quiet and sheltered before.
Yeah.
So that was my 24 to 26. And then 27 to 29, we're in this now.
Yeah, we're in this now. So 27, I don't have to, 27's a little odd. 27.
It's an odd number.
Yeah, 27. I just started dating. I'm in my first healthy relationship, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm so in love! Yay! I'm here trying long distance for the first time. So I'm traveling to Dallas, and he's coming to Boston. It was great. Yeah. I was just like, wow, like you can really have a good healthy relationship. I loved it. And then finally, I decided to move to Dallas.
So I think that was
2022. Yep, 2022. I was 28. And here I am living on my own. And I've prayed for this. I was like, I want to live on my own. And I finally lived on my own. And it was great. I loved it. Still think about my apartment. I can still feel it. Ugh, I loved it. And I lived in my apartment for about 7 months until I bought a house. Yeah. And here we are now. So the last couple, like 27, 28, 29, also was like working like crazy, had a part-time, working full-time.
Yeah.
I literally had a laptop from like 6 a.m. to like 9 p.m. at night. I was always working, and that's how I'm here now. Like I had to work to be where I am right now, and that was just hard work. So my 27 to 29 was just hard work, Ellie.
There we go.
Hard work.
And it paid off.
The time. Yes, it does pay off. And I don't regret it because I always say work hard now so you can, enjoy it later on. So
and you are enjoying it.
I enjoyed it. Amen. And then got married at 29. And we are happy marriage. Yeah, I'm a wife.
Yes.
I'm a husband.
It's beautiful.
I'm enjoying it. Yeah. That's
Look at you. Are. Well, 27, 29 for me is a little different. It was definitely a time of self-discovery. I feel like I can say this was the era and is the era where I know myself. Granted, it's just like healing and stuff. It's an ongoing thing, but I know myself. The other years I didn't. who I am now wasn't who I was even 2 years ago. My relationship with myself has changed. I love myself more. I respect myself more enough to take care of myself more. I'm more disciplined with myself. I see the value in who I am. Shout out to therapy, because that is those tools. It helps a lot. And just how I interact with certain things. And me and I was just talking about like eating healthy and things like that. We think things like that are so little, but when you change how you eat, you change how you drink, things like that are just signs of you growing and outgrowing certain behaviors and outgrowing who you once were. And it's like, I've changed so much just drastically within the past year alone. And I'm just like, wow, this, like, I know myself now. I can confidently, like, even though I just said I don't necessarily feel like my single era is over.
Yeah.
I feel like if I were to meet my husband tomorrow, granted, God is always working on me, I feel prepared in order to say, I love myself enough to allow someone else to love me and potentially be hurt, but no, that's not a reflection of who I am. Like, I'm not going to take that. Like, it's going to hurt. I'm going to cry, whatever. But it's not going to be like, wow, what's wrong with me? It's going to be like, damn, you missed out. And I think that also circles back to 20 to 23, where it's like, I made that decision to choose me over a man and to not let someone else's actions dictate who I am. And I think right now I would still be able to do that 10 times fold. And I think this was the era too. After my long journey of celibacy, I broke it. Yeah. And that situation didn't work out. And that situation, when I always think about it, because sometimes like, does he know what he did? Does he really, like, you know? Do you really understand that?
I know him. I've talked. There's a lack of emotional intelligence. Like, that's missing a little bit. No disrespect, but I can say
like, because I just feel like, you know how long I waited to let someone, and then I chose you.
He don't, and he don't care.
And the thing is, if I wasn't healed enough, because I remember the day, and I was like, same thing when I lost my virginity. Yeah. If this happens and tomorrow it goes to shit, I'm not regretting it, because in this moment I'm secure in my decision. And that's the same mentality I had. So if it ended, it ended. And that's what it happened. But it's like, old me, that could have destroyed me. Yeah. Because it's not only, okay, I had sex with someone after not having sex for so long. It's I didn't love my body for so long, and I finally do, and I let someone else use it, and this is what they do. They don't cherish it the way I struggled to cherish it. And it's like, I think sometimes too, possibly just for men, the emotional intelligence is not there for most of them. So they can't even fathom how deep something like sex is for someone who hasn't had sex in a long time. And
some of them just don't care.
They don't care. And that's just really what it is. They don't care. But it's just like, if this was Thati at 24, 25, 26, this would have broken you. Girl, you would have gone through a whole new heartbreak. And it's like, no, it is what it was. I appreciate it for what it was, but it's your loss. Yeah. And I think a self-love and self-respect that you have for yourself is the only way you're able to get through certain things like that. Knowing that you did nothing, baby girl, because you are the prize and he just didn't know he won.
That's his loss.
Period. And that is what it is. So I love these years. I can't wait to see what 30 brings, because I'm just like, if I'm ending out my 20s like this, like, what are my 30s going to be like?
30's going to be great.
I think it's going to be great. I'm excited. Let me see here. And, we're just going to skip through. What is something that you're bringing into your 30s?
Something that I'm bringing to my 30s. Oh, that's a good question. Why don't you go first?
I can go first.
Let me think about this.
I think I am bringing, I would say, the old me, especially with starting the podcast. I mean, mind you, I was swearing throughout this episode, but the old me was a lot more carefree and careless, maybe even a little reckless. And I kind of like that. I'm like, niggas ain't shit, fuck you. A lot more, even this, the way I would like say it's a lot more. Now I feel like I still have that, but I'm a little bit more tamed and muted, or have a little better way of saying that. But I think in going into my 30s, I'm going to bring back a little bit of the I don't care-ness, the I don't give a fuckness. Not in the sense of words or anything like that, but just expressing me and doing what I want to do. Like, I really want to dive into my creative side. Like, this is probably something I'll never do. But if I wasn't Haitian, I would definitely do a nude photo shoot.
Like a boudoir.
Yes. And just post it on social media.
I'm definitely
so Haitian.
what?
I definitely would.
I said, whoever's doing it, good for. I'm just like,
you know what? Let me never say never, but I think I just want to just stop like caring. And I think I've done such a good job and I've become so secure in myself that I know the reason why I'm doing things. No one else needs to know. No one else needs to understand. It's not for anyone else to understand. It's for me to do. And
as
for me to understand
as long as you're going to be fine with it, like 10 years from now.
That's what I'm saying.
Internet.
Exactly.
Your kids gonna see it.
So this is just like an idea. Like I would love, granted, this is something I may never do, but the idea of doing something bold that may shock others, but it's for me.
My boldness was my 25th my 25th birthday when I did like that grown and sexy.
Yes.
And I posted that half shirt. I was like,
yes.
What? I remember before posting that, I like, Tati, I'm about to post it. I know. And then I posted and I was like, oh my gosh. And like everyone's like, oh my gosh. And I was like, never again.
You
That's
see?
not me.
And like I said, this is just an example, but it's not necessarily I'm going to do that, but it's the idea of I just want to be carefree. Because if I can't do it in my 30s, when the hell can I do it?
Never.
Like, you know what I mean? Because how long are we going to say, well, like, I never know. I was checking, I'm going to be 21. My mom can't tell me nothing. I'm going to be 23. I'm going to be 25. At what age is it really going to apply? When I get out of her house, I'm stuck. I already said that in the last episode. I'm stuck. I don't know when I'm getting out of her house. So there's a certain aspect I need to stop not living a portion of my life because I don't think I'm there yet. Like, you know what I mean? I think there's so much, okay, I live with my mom. I can't do this. I don't, I have this job. I can't do this. I'm not where I want to be money-wise, so I can't do this. Like, stop letting those things limit you for doing what you want to do. And I think I'm going into my 30s saying, fuck it. Yeah. I'm here. This is what I have. So let's get as close to what I want to do with what I have.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Bring into my 30s, 100% my faith. Baby, it has never forsaken me. And I'm here and I wouldn't do anything. Like, I couldn't be anywhere without it. One thing for sure, I'm going to mention God 24/7. And it's just like, your relationship with God grows so much if you want it to. And over the years, my relationship with God has grown so much. Like, I tell people I have conversations with God where we're fighting in our prayer. Like, God, I want that. It's like I'm bawling my eyes. Like, or like I'm just, I find myself like becoming my mom, my mom who makes individual. She like has her own prayers. She has, prayers. I'm becoming that. And I love that for me. And I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for the prayer, my mom's prayers, my grandma's prayers, my grandfather's prayers, everybody's prayers. And I just think that, I just want to bring that into my 30s because 30s, I'm growing a family. I'm having kids. I need to pray over my kids. I need to pray over my family. I need to pray over my life. So I'm bringing God into my 30s.
Period. Bring God.
Put him in my bag.
There you go. Well, guys, that was our episode. I hope anyone in their 20s, in their 30s, whoever, whatever age group, but especially if you're in your 20s, that you guys can take and learn from our experiences. And life isn't over. That one decision that you made, that one heartbreak that you're going through, that one transition in life that you're going through, it's not going to break you, okay? Like, I promise you will get through this. When they say time heal all wounds, that's true, but you got to put a little effort and work into it too. But like, tomorrow is going to be better. A week from now, you're going to cry less. A week from now, things are going to just be a little bit closer. Like, I used to, when I first started NP school, I had a breakdown within like the first 2 weeks, and I put in my my phone and the countdown when I would graduate. Mind you, this program's 2.5 years long. Yeah. It said 800 and something days.
Oh my goodness.
I broke down even more because I was like, I can't do this for 800 and something days. There's no way. Yeah. And day by day, that 800 came less and less and less. So if you're going through a season and it has an end date, it's going to end. Literally just have to take it day by day by day. So that was our episode for our melanin and Jesus, sorry guys. I joined this organization, Melanin Medicine. And every time I talk to them, I say Melanin Monday. So here we are. For our Melanin Monday, we are going to highlight Miel or Mayo hair care products. I don't know if it's Miel or Mayo, but that there, the twist out is because of that.
Looking good.
So I use their honey pomegranate leave-in conditioner, honey pomegranate curl twisting souffle, and their honey pomegranate hair gel, and their rosemary hair oil. It's basically a very Mael hair twist out. They're the products I only use for my twist outs. They have served me so well. The only thing that I would say I don't use for them is just shampoos and conditioners, but the styling products, A1. And I'm pretty sure every black girl at this point uses something of theirs. But my twist outs, baby,
looking good.
That's all I use, because I only wear my natural hair out for the summer and early fall, and my go-to style 95% of the time is twist out. So
it's juicy. It looks really good. And I use the shampoo and conditioner. It's great.
So there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. And then next segment, my hair brand. So if you listen to our last episode, we talked about relaxation and all of that. And we said number one way to get relaxation, that's free sleep. So we all see on TikTok the Sleepy Girl cocktail, magnesium, blah, blah, blah. This is magnesium glycinate. If you want to sleep, it's not regular magnesium. It's magnesium glycinate, okay? This is the one by Nature's Made. It's 200 milligrams. You take 2 capsules. I only need 1. And it doesn't necessarily, it helps you fall asleep, yes, but it's the type and quality of sleeping. You'll wake up and you're just like, oh my God, the birds are chirping? Like, night. You just feel rested. Like, that's definitely like, you feel rested. So, all my girls who are out here working 2 jobs, baby daddy drama, in school. Daddy drama. You be stressed. Yeah. You be stressed, and you get the little kids running around looking like the daddy. You be stressed. And you need some sleep. So, baby, magnesium glycinate, I promise you will not regret it. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning into another episode of Good Luck Sis, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.